Hey, Big V here. It's Verl Workman. Today we're talking teams. And wow, let's talk about how do you double? More importantly, how do you double in the next 6 months? Now think about that. By continuing doing everything you've done to get to where you are, is there any chance you're going to double in the next 6 months? And the answer to the question is no. Doing what you've done got you to where you are. But if you want to go to a different place, you can't keep doing the same things. You have to do different activities. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is what got you to where you are will not get you to where you want to go. It's not going to get you to the next level. So how do we find the tools, the systems, the people, the resources, and the focus to go from where we are to the next level? Let's use a simple number. I'm going to help you go from $50,000 a year in income to $100,000 a year in just 6 months. The first thing is identify what you're focused on. Now, if you're making $50,000 a year as a full-time real estate agent, the first question I'm going to ask you is this: what do you do all day? Now, I'm not asking you to make you feel bad. I'm just saying that to make $50,000 in real estate, the average commission's around 10 grand. That means you sold 5 houses this year. That means you didn't even sell one a month. And so every other month you sold one. And so during the month that you sold a home, what did you do in the 6 weeks till you sell another one? Like if you're doing this full time and you get up every day and you spend your time doing the right things, it's physically impossible to only sell 5 houses. And so what we have to do is we have to figure out how do we replace some of your current habits with better habits. You see, everybody's a creature of habits. We all have a system or routine or thing that we follow when we get up. I like to get up early, usually around 5:30, 5:45. I like going to the gym in the morning and listening to books on tape while I do my cardio and work on the weights. And then I'll go to the office and I'll spend half an hour thinking about my day and how do I prioritize the things that need to be done. And then we get into the routine of our day. Now, you may have a different process or a different program. The highly successful follow a routine. I've learned that about the greatness. As I study greatness, people who are exceptional have routines. They always include things in their routine that include self-help. They have focused prospecting activities where they spend time looking for new business. As a real estate agent, if you want to go from 50 to 100,000 and that's selling less than 1 house a month, all you have to do is give me 2 hours a day focused prospecting every day, 5 days a week. 2 hours. You don't even have to give me all day. If you give me 2 hours a day and you spend that time looking for new business, it is physically impossible for you to do less than 1 house a month. The problem is you won't do it. You'll spend 8 hours getting ready to make 4 calls. But instead of just getting a list and making the calls, you'll spend all the time wanting to do it perfectly instead of wanting to do it right. And so here's some of the questions I'd like to ask you. Number 1, are you full-time? If you are, what do you do all day? If you're not currently tracking it, I'm going to give you a tool at the end of the video you can download. It's called our Daily Success Habits Tracker, where you can track in 30-minute increments what you do all day. And I want you to be honest. Write down what you actually did. Thought about going to lunch. Found someone to go to lunch with. Actually went to lunch. That's your morning. In the afternoon, we did a couple of searches for buyers that aren't really coming into town for the next month. And then we looked at a couple of contracts or attended a CE class. You found 3/4 of your day's gone. You haven't done anything that makes you any money yet. And so when you start tracking it in 30-minute increments, you got to be honest with yourself. Look, it doesn't affect my life whether or not you do the activities that make you more money, but it does affect yours. And so you have to choose that if you're going to be in real estate, be great. Be great at it. If you're going to leave your family for 8 hours a day, how about spend a few of those hours actually making money? Your family actually thinks that's what you're doing anyway. Stop living outside of integrity and pretending you're going to work and not actually do anything that takes care of your family. Okay, so here's some of the things I like. I want to make sure that you systematize things. Anything you do 3 times in your business, I'd like you to build a system for it. So if you're prospecting every day, I want you to have an automated process for prospecting. If you're working for sell by owners and expired listings, I use Red X. If you're working with high volume lead generation, companies like Sync and Boomtown and KV Core do a great job of high volume lead generation. If you have follow-up and you now have talked to a client, you want to put them on a drip campaign or a follow-up campaign, then we use your CRM. And it doesn't matter which one you use. I can show you how to make money with all of them. And then when you have social media posting and you're using social media as a pillar, that you use one-to-many tools that will post on all the social media channels. You use lookalike audiences. Anything you do 3 times, utilize systems so that you can create leverage in that. The second one is, do you have a list of your priorities of things you should do in order? And you always do the highest priority things first. If the answer is no, build one. And then clearly define your goal. If your goal is to sell one house a month, sell 12 houses a year. By the way, I just gave you a raise. Instead of making 100 grand, going from 50 to 100, now you're making 120 because you're doing one a month. And what if you thought differently about your business? What if your goal was to sell one a week? How would that be life-changing for you? If you sold instead of one a month, one a week, what would that do to your family? How would that change your income? Instead of making 100,000, if you sold one a week, you do 5 times that. So now you're selling one a week, 50 weeks a year, times 10 grand. Yeah, add a zero. Now it's $500,000 in income selling 50 houses. What would that do to your family and the way you live and the way you vacation and the cars you drive and the schools your kids attend and the ability to put them in competitive sports, or even more importantly, provide tutoring and some of the things that would give your kids help in areas where they struggle? Would doing one a week change your lifestyle? If so, then let's change the goal. Selling one house a week, I mean, if all you do is prospect till you find a client and you do it every week, you'll have plenty of clients. And if you do a great job, they'll refer many more to you. One a week is not that big of a deal. It's just a matter of being focused on the activities. And then, are you ready for this? You're gonna have to do the work. You're gonna have to stop waiting for your broker to give you leads or your team leader to give you stuff. You have to put in the effort and do the work. If you're willing to do the work, one a week is not this mind-blowing number. It's only 4 houses a month. One a week. It's not that big of a deal. It's only a big deal if you don't focus and you're unwilling to do the work. Now, it's interesting because when we started, we talked about going from a 50,000 to 100,000, and then we immediately clipped to 120,000, and then by just focusing on one a week, it went to 500,000. You see, changing your goal is changing your focus on what activities have to happen in order to be able to get you. So I want you to think about this. What if I told you I'm going to give you an advance on the $500,000? How many of you are in? Who's like, oh, I'm in. I'm going to give it to you right now. I'm just going to go ahead and Venmo you $500,000, if I could do that, and I'm going to give it to you in advance. The thing is, you don't get it till the end of the year. It's going to sit in your account, and it's going to be sitting there. And at the end of the year, if you did one transaction a week, you get to download the $500,000 and you get all of it. But if at the end of the year, you actually didn't do the work, and you didn't set the appointments, and you didn't prospect, you get none of it. So you get all of it or you get none of it. You either give your family a $500,000 bump this year or you give your family zero at the end of the year. Here's the question. How would you work differently if it was all or nothing? Is there any chance you would let your family down? Is there any chance you fail? You see, when failure is not an option, you work differently. Coming from poverty, I've learned that poverty sucks. I didn't like it. And so I'm willing to do the work other people aren't willing to do, because I never want to go back there. I don't really focus on the money. I don't care about how much money I have or what's in the bank. I focus on not having poverty. I never want to go back to a place where my family struggles because of my choice not to do the work. Are you thinking the same things? If you are, then let's do the work. In the Daily Success Habits Tracker, they're called the Daily Success Habits. The middle word is success. It's the habits that we must have if we want to have success. And we have to track the right things. I asked you to track what you do in 30-minute increments and make sure they're money-making activities. To focus on getting 61 points every single day, doing the dollar productive activities. And then when you have a great coach, your coach can look at those activities and they can identify where you have gaps and coach to the gaps. If you're making calls but not getting appointments, we can coach you on what to say. If you're making calls and setting appointments, but you're not getting buyer agreements signed or listing agreements signed, then we can really focus on your presentation skills. If you're getting deals on the market, but you're not getting them sold, then we work on marketing and pricing and staging. You see, when you track the right things, it allows us to coach to the gaps. And when we coach to the gaps, those gaps go away. And when you eliminate excuses for failure and you remove the obstacles that are setting you back right now, ultimately you end up with massive success. And then we learn to delegate and we build our team. I've had story after story about clients who have grown from, Christy from Houston, Texas, she went from 250,000 to 575 in 1 year. The very next year, she went to 1.1 million. The very next year, 2.1 million. The very next year, 1.7, she went backwards because they had all these hurricanes in Houston. The very next year, she went to 2.7, then 3.4. Every single year now, we focus between 3 and 4 million gross and $1 million in net. The focus has become doubling until we build a lifestyle that she wanted, and now she focuses on developing her team and helping her people be successful. It's been fun to watch Christy as she stopped working and stopped living to work. Now her business creates a lifestyle that she enjoys with her lake house and her hunting property and her cabins. What's fun is that she's helping her people create graceful lives. So here's the things. Number one, change, return on time. Where are you giving your time and how do you get the highest return on your time? Number two, the concept of working buyers instead of sellers and where you get the highest return. And last, make sure you measure the things that make a difference. That which gets measured gets done. Use the daily success habits tracker. Matter of fact, go down right now. You may have seen me talk about it before, you downloaded it but you didn't use it, or you've heard me mention it in another video. Today's the day. Now's the time. You want to double in 6 months? Stop playing. Download the Daily Success Habits Tracker and do it every single day for the next 6 months. Fill out what you do in 30-minute increments. Ask yourself, are my activities consistent with my goals? Go in and track conversations, calls, conversions, appointments set, appointments met, how many times you go and show buyers, how many times you go on listing appointments, whether or not you get them signed, and then set a goal of getting 61 points every day. When you get to 60 points and you're almost there, do one more thing one more time, and you're going to find that success is predictable, as equal as average. You can have an average life, you can have a successful life. You can double what you're doing, but you can't do it doing the same activities. Download Daily Success Habits. Let's go to work and let's double.